Hello, welcome to Talkin Investing. Hello, everybody. Hello, George.
Hello.
Hopefully today was a good day. You guys see a lot of green on the board. We're going to go through Bitcoin, the Bitcoin miners. We had some big, well, we get it every month, but we had the jobs report, so it was big news today. George, I guarantee I know what you're going to say about that. We haven't talked about it yet, but we'll get to that. And right off the bat, I want to thank Barry C. for gifting 5 memberships. That was very kind of you, Barry. Thank you very much. And hello to everybody. Welcome to our members, new members, etc. What's happening, George? Uh-oh. You broke up again. I think you got to move 1 inch forward.
Oh, my goodness.
There you go.
It's been a long week. Is that better?
That's perfect.
Long week. That's all I say.
It is a long week, and for once, well, not for once, but we get to end on a high note here with a lot of green, a couple of outperformers today, one underperformer. Bitcoin had a good day. And we'll look, as always, we'll look at what happened week to date as of the end of just a few minutes ago. Right, the U.S. equity markets closed 18 minutes ago, so we'll take a look at what the Bitcoin miners did this week to date, year to date. Also, we got a lot of August operational reports. I want to go through some of those because there were some big surprises, in my opinion, some real standouts. So want to go through a few of those, one of which I thought had a really good report that gets really, really beat up by the retail crowd. So we'll talk about that one, and I'll give you a hint. Chris Dominator is already talking about it. Hello, Chris. So, where to start? Bitcoin was up over 2% today from, as always, this gold line is where Bitcoin was when the U.S. equity markets closed yesterday. So the Bitcoin miners were very green today. There was one exception, which was Wolf. TeraWolf was down 6.58%. Now, they're one of the outperformers on the year. So when we look at the week to date, year to date, you're going to see that didn't change. But I do think there was a reason that they underperformed versus their peers today. And we will look at that reason. Midway.
All right.
Thank you very much for the super chat. And thank you, as always, for being a member. Midway said, IREN had a great operational update. Their electricity costs at Childress is just 0.32 cents per kilowatt hour with 16 joules per terahash. Wow. And they're on track to reach 31 exahash in December. They also have 7 new HPC customers. Yeah. So that is one of the, well, I thought there was 2 outstanding reports, and IREN was definitely one of them. So we'll talk about that. And I compare, I did a quickie comparison of what, not everybody has put their report out yet, but thank you, Midway, for pointing that out. I thought IREN's results and update was a home run. So, and you could see it. They were up 10.71% today, although I think they might have put that out yesterday. I can't remember if that was yesterday or today, but they had a big update today. CleanSpark. So IREN and CleanSpark were the big outperformers today. CleanSpark up 10.62%. So a lot of other miners had a nice day. More green than not. But when we go to the week to date, you're going to see all the miners, despite this really nice day, even the ones that are up 10%, that still left them down on the week. Bitcoin was down on the week. But I do think we bottomed out. And for those of you that were there on our live stream Tuesday night, we bottomed out live in real time. The members called that as the bottom. Now, I'm not saying that we're never going to go lower in the future, but that was a local bottom. It's now, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday later that held, and we're up from there. So I'll point that out on the chart later on the 1 day. And we took a poll, and 50% of the members thought that was the bottom right in real time. And so you guys were right for now. Thanks again, Midway. Oh, everybody, if you could do us a favor And please hit the like button. Let's see. We're at 20 likes. Thank you for that. If you guys could hit the like button, we go for 100 likes and then 200 likes. So help us out. Help the stream out in real time. It is much appreciated. Let's get retail investors back interested in the Bitcoin miners. It looks like maybe they woke up a little bit today on a few of these, but we got a lot more work to go to get the retail investors back into Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. So while the whales continue to buy up, retail is lagging behind as usual. And Andrew said, October starts next week. So I got an article on just that exact thing. And it could be that October, which is, Rectember, October. Well, we didn't get wrecked in September, but we did get faked out in the first 6 days. And maybe we got a little bit of a fake out here at the beginning of this month, although I don't want to call that. Obviously, it's way early. This is only October 4th, so we'll see. Donnell Brown said there's been a lot of local bottoms. Hopefully that's the last one in a while. Yeah, I hear you. That's why I say it's a local bottom. We don't know what's necessarily ahead, but for now that did hold for several days after that. So that's a good start. Any thoughts before I jump into some stuff, George?
I look really tired.
Who does? You
I'm
do?
Not really tired. Yeah, I don't know why. Looking at my eyes, I'm like, wow, I look like I got 4 eyes. No, I'm just excited that I stayed in.
Yeah.
I got nervous, but I'm like, yeah, what am I going to do? It costs too much to sell Bitcoin.
That's a big deal. Those fees, and this is something, if you guys trade Bitcoin itself, it's got to make a move or else you lose at trading it because of the fees. So that's a part of, it's a buy and hold asset. So that doesn't mean you can't swing trade it over time, but now if you're leverage trading and doing other things, you can do trades faster than that. But and that's why there's so many wallets that have held for so long. Spin Second Serve said, happy Friday, Tom and George. However, just because today is a green day doesn't mean that we're up for the week. CleanSpark is still down 6% or so for this week. So that is correct. Spin Second Serve. Thanks for pointing that out. We're going to look at what all the Bitcoin miners did this week, and they were all in the red. Now, I'll caveat that. There was a couple that were at 0 on the week. So, that's not actually down, but none were up. Andrew's asking, are you trading Bitcoin, George and Tom? I think George just had to take a call. He's still dealing with a just FYI if he pops in and out. George's area in Georgia, we live in Southwest Florida and George lives here part of the time. So this hurricane hit here and then it went and hit there. So his business deals with, emergency water removal, that kind of stuff. So, he's been beyond busy. So if you see him coming and going, that is why. So I'll answer on behalf of George. He trades Bitcoin. I think he's got a certain position that mostly he just holds, but he has bought and sold over time. So yes, that is true. Okay, let's get to it. The news of today, for sure. Where'd we go? Okay. U.S. economy adds 254,000 jobs in September, logging surprisingly robust growth. I'm going to re-talk about this when George gets back because I know what he's going to have to say about this. And then if you look deeper, so employers added an estimated 254,000 jobs. George, you're back. I wanted you to see this story. Ready? So this is the
story. Go ahead.
Huh?
The fake story. I'll watch it right now. Fake.
See, I knew. U.S. economy adds 254,000 jobs in September, longing surprising, robust growth. So in October, we get a report, a great jobs report. So in an election year, I said it for you, George. I'm not saying, I'm just saying what happened. So I'm sorry.
What they actually reported. Do you know, like, it's probably a standard percentage.
So this time, employers added 254,000 versus 140 was the expectation. So that's a big beat. And then they upwardly revised the previous month, 159,000. That hasn't happened in ages. So, you know, a double positive here. The unemployment rate dropped from 4.2 to 4.1, a triple positive. Like, that's hitting on all cylinders for this report. Now, I will say, when you get a jobs report that the previous month was revised by $159,000 or 159,000, that's more than 100% change from the number that they reported last month. So I wouldn't say, you know, just as a statistical analysis, these tend to be all over the place. Not the highest level of accuracy based on the revisions that follow. Sometimes these revisions can be 50, 100, 150% of the original number. So, but
get to the report and look at everything, Tom.
Yeah, drop down to the details. I know this is not the deep dive. That's right. That's where you know, that's where I don't want to say manipulation, but you got to read the fine print because not all jobs, you know, one job doesn't equal another job. There's different categories of jobs that are added and lost, different sectors and all sorts of things. So, but people did get excited about this top line, and it did change the market's expectation drastically. So the market had a nice day. You know, it didn't go bananas, but I want to show you what happened to the FedWatch tool. So, you know, we were debating between 25 or 50 basis point rate hike. Well, guess what? When this thing came out, boom, 99% chance of a 25 basis. Now what we got a 1% chance of no rate cut. So yesterday, this was a 68% chance of a 25 basis point and a 32% chance of a 50 basis point. That jumped to 99. There's now 0% chance. So that doesn't mean it won't happen. Remember, this is just the what the market is pricing in, but that's a dramatic change from one day to one day based on one data point. So, you know, that happens, and here we go. It happened. You guys can do us a favor. We're at 30 likes now. If you have not, if you would please, if you could smash the like button, it would be greatly appreciated. Does help the stream out.
I didn't even say any like naughty words, and we're doing terrible. They just don't like us anymore.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
We need to do more. What do you think? More doom and gloom or more positivity?
Doom and gloom gets a lot more attention. That is for sure. And there, you know, we've got our fair share of it, but I prefer the positivity. Barry C, hello from Ireland. Hello, Barry C. Welcome aboard. And thank you for being a member. Andrew wants to know what exchange you're trading on, George, if you're willing to.
Coinbase, Uphold, and Robinhood.
Robin,
but I'm just chilling. I'm not doing anything yet. I bought a whole bunch, and now I'm just chilling to see what happens. But Tom, the date, December 24th, this year will be the high of Bitcoin.
You're calling it.
Not financial advice.
Just a prediction, a potential prediction of the future. December 24th, Bitcoin's high for the year, which means you're calling a new all-time high.
Yeah. Literally. I noticed that George has a red border on his camera picture and Tom has a blue border. Projecting balance, yes.
Those are not political affiliations. We are
It would probably be more blue than Tom.
yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I'm in the middle.
I think we're both more in the middle than I think a lot of people are more in the middle these days, but most people do have a leaning, even if they say they're in the middle.
It's a joke. All joking.
All right. Quick poll. We got a little movement in Bitcoin. I'm shooting straight for the moon. Bitcoin new all-time high in October. We getting back to 70, we didn't quite hit 74,000, 73.6, whatever it was. And that was back in March. It's now October. So are we going to finally break out of this funk? And let's find that chart. So guys will be familiar. We've been trading in a range forever here. So we're more than 6 months into this trend. And we just can't seem to break out of the top. Fortunately, we don't seem to break out of the bottom either. So that's what's been going on. We did get a higher high inside of this pattern last week. And I think that was a very bullish move. So the fact that we went and did a little retest, found some support just around $60,000. And, this day was barely green yesterday, but it was green. And today is a nice green day, back up to $62,000. So now this could be maybe the run up to retest the top of this and then see if we can get past that. So is it possible? There's still most of this month left. So can we get there? George, are we going to get out of this trading range to the top this month? We're going to get over $68,000. Oh, I can't hear you again. Sorry. I think when you lean back, I can't hear you.
I think a lot has to do with the election.
Well, yeah, we got, we're a month out from the election. So
I don't know. You should go to your, what was it? What's that one website?
I got it up. You want me to go there? I was going to go there later, but we can go there. It's interesting. We are someplace today that we haven't been in a long time. So Polymarket, if you're not familiar, is a cryptocurrency betting website. And if I go there, you will see we are now at 49 to 49. So we haven't been here in a long time. This, we got to go back, even through that whole time. Yeah, we have not had a tie since August, late August. So it's been over a month. And for almost every single day for that month, we've had a lead as high as, looks like 5 points. And somehow we've pulled all the way back to break even. There's over $1 billion that has been bet on this at this point. So
this time, what date is this?
This is real time.
October 4th?
Yeah, this is people betting. I mean, people are putting money in as we speak. I can press refresh, see if it changed. Oh, whoa, I just refreshed. We got real-time changes occurring. Now, remember, guys, this is just people betting. So this isn't even a poll. This is just strictly people betting. But that is what happened. That is over the last, I brought that window up maybe a half an hour ago. So, that's in the last half hour. So we get little swings. That happened in real time, George.
I listened to you all for a long time. Neither one of you have a clue. LOL. Cheap entertainment.
Well, to be fair, we never claimed We never claimed that we did.
No, never did. But thanks, Iceman. Why don't you tell us what's going to happen?
Yeah,
we're all listening.
Drop in the comments what your thoughts are, and thanks for listening.
Right. The clueless guy from the clueless guy. Yes, we're going to have a Santa rally.
Santa rally. We still got that ahead.
I will tell you that Georgia, after what just happened with the hurricane time,
yeah,
I don't know, dude. I think there's a lot of aggravation going on. There's a lot of aggravation going on in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia right now.
Because of the damage of the storm. Is it just areas not being declared disaster areas? I know that's happening here in Florida. There's certain, it seems to be so arbitrary. You know, certain areas get declared a disaster area, and that makes a difference from a support level, from a financially and other things. And if you're not in, you know, if you got wrecked by a storm and you aren't in that area, you're treated differently in certain ways.
Yeah. There's conspiracy theories running amok, and then there's, you know, just the truth running amok.
Well,
this
storm was a doozy.
It's ugly, 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 ugly.
George deals with it. You sure? Can I tell you the picture you sent me?
Yeah, I don't care.
He's got a customer who had a tree, pretty much split their house in half, right on their bed.
Yeah, that was the worst one.
That was rough.
I got a ton of customers like that. Tom, one tree, I'm telling you, I have never seen a tree so big in my life go down. It's a freaking humongous.
Did it hit a house, or did it just go down?
No, they hit a fence, and that means it hit a house.
Ah, gotcha.
Fences are included. But it's so weird to see the different storms because, you know, down in Florida, everything's messed up. Here, only the people with the pine trees in Georgia got messed up, you know, in certain areas. But do you think any of that affects the market, Tom?
I don't know. I mean, even a big hurricane is still, you know, they're devastating, but they're still local.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll tell you this, it specifically affected CleanSpark for several days. We went through that press release on the members only where they were, you know, they have multiple locations, but they did at one point get down, I think, to 10.6 exahash for a few days. And I think by today, they said they were going to be back up at full capacity. So, but they did, being in Georgia, a lot of remember, they used to be 100% in Georgia. So a lot of what they do is still in Georgia, and a lot of it got affected by the storm for a period of time. All right, 47 likes, George. We're getting back on track. If you guys could smash the like button for us, we would appreciate it. Want to look at okay, well, let's quickly go to this because, you know, this seemed like it was going to be a potential big problem. Port strike ends as workers agreed a tentative deal on wages and contract extensions. So this port strike, had that gone on for weeks and weeks and weeks, that I think was going to be a really big deal. And it did not. It ended quickly. And they go on to say that they don't think it's really even going to impact supply chain. So this was maybe a minor disaster avoided here. So I'll just leave it at that. But this is something that had this not ended, this is something we'd be talking about in a big way right now. So fortunately, that went the right way. Let's see what. Okay, so you want to talk monthly operational reports here? I'm going to go to the summary sheet first. Okay. So if you look at, there's some green on the headings over here. This is September. So not everybody has reported. Core Scientific had not yet reported. which is surprising to me. And Hive has not yet reported, although they did put out another press release yesterday or today that we will talk about. And BitDigital has not yet reported. But you can see there was some. So this is the number of Bitcoin that was mined in the month of September. And this is the percent change over the previous month. Now, I had said I expected a lot of red on this report because the difficulty level was significantly higher in September than it was in August. So the Bitcoin miners that didn't add a lot of exahash, I expected they were going to be in the red. And you're going to see the bottom half of this list is all in the red. But conversely, the top half of this list is all in the green. Now, we have not yet heard from Core Scientific, and I suspect unless something bizarre happens, Riot is going to jump from 4th place to 3rd place ahead of Core Scientific, a place they have never been. So I think in the month of September, Riot has finally passed Core from a Bitcoin mining standpoint. So, and I understand that Core's business is different than Riot's, and they have a big component of high performance computing and that kind of stuff. So all these, no two of these businesses, although they're all Bitcoin miners, no two are identical. But I do think it's meaningful. Riot's up 28%. Their production was up month over month. That is a big, big improvement. But it wasn't the best improvement. IREN, 347 Bitcoin mined, up 42% month over month. And that's over August. And August, they were the only Bitcoin miner that was up month over month. So they were up 10% in August when everybody else was down, mostly pretty big. And now another 42%. So they're making significant strides. So these two, to me, they just jump off the page. These are big, big, big improvements. And it's possible IREN will pass Core Scientific depending on what their number comes in. And if not this month, maybe next month. So Core could be in 5th place from a number of Bitcoin mined per month. And again, there's a lot of other stuff going on at Core, so that's not the only thing to consider. But IREN and Riot, Riot, we spend a lot of time beating up Riot, but if you look at this, in the last 4 months, in June, they were up 19% month over month. In July, 45%. They were down 13% in August, but now up 28%. So 3 of the last 4 months were really good. So I said, these were the 3 months I was looking at, and I decided, I'm comfortable. I like what, not financial advice, obviously. I'm just giving my opinion. I was satisfied with what I saw, but I was more than satisfied this month. I thought this was a really good month for them. And then Cleanspark at 493, that was up 3%. Marathon back over 700, 705 Bitcoin mined in September. So that is, that's a great month, up 5%. And if we look at the exahash, so the other thing, these, like I said, the companies that didn't add exahash were going to be red. So if you look from number 6 down, which is Bitfarms, 0 exahash added. So this last column over here is the number of exahash they added in the month of September. 0 for Bitfarms, 0 for TeraWulf, 0 for BitDeer, 0.2 for Cypher, 0 for Hut, and Hive and BitDigital did not report yet. BitDigital is most likely a 0. They have been every month all year. And we'll see about Hive. But look up here. IREN added 5 exahash. Riot added 4.9 exahash. Cleanspark added 5 exahash. I mean, just to think that these companies are adding 5 exahash in a month. It wasn't too long ago that none of these companies in total were 5 exahash from the beginning of time. So, now they're adding that in a month. So that's a big deal. Marathon added 1.7 exahash. That would have been a big deal had, the others not added 5. So you've got companies now. Marathon's at almost 37 exahash. Cleanspark's at 27.6. Riot's at 28.2. IREN is at 21. Those 4 are running away with this. Core Scientific will hang around somewhere around this 20 that they were at last month when they show their number in all likelihood. Bitfarms still claims in the next 3 months they're going to get from 11 to 21. So those 6, these 5 really have pulled away. Bitfarms in a solid 6th, but a distant 6th. So we'll see if they can make up any ground between now and the end of the year. But these were some really good reports. And obviously there's a lot deeper dive than that. And we'll look at a couple of some interesting numbers in there. CleanSpark. Now we got somebody, CleanSpark to $6.19. Somebody changed their name to. And your comment is CleanSpark to $20. That's right. Let's hope so. CleanSpark was at $20. They were higher than that. Robin's saying, I'm still scratching my head on why there's no market respect for Bitfarms. It's interesting. We might get some replies in the chat to that, Robin. I like what Bitfarms is doing. I didn't love this 11.3. That's a couple of months in a row, but they still did say they're targeting 21 by the end of the year. So now, they got 3 months to show us. And it, if they get to 18, I'm not going to cry about it. But if they're at 11 or 12 3 months from now, then they missed. They missed what they said they were going to do. But they said they were going to get there. So,
Tom, you could probably talk to Ben, right?
Yeah.
I think what you should do is reach out to Ben and come up with a plan, a marketing plan. If I get their stock to a certain amount of money, I don't want any money unless I get it to a certain amount.
And how
I think their biggest problem is I think they should hire Sue from Riot.
From Hut.
From Hut, yeah.
It seems like Sue likes it over there at Hut. I don't know.
Sue likes a paycheck.
She's in front of the camera, let's say that, and she's very enthusiastic. So, and listen, we talked about a press release they put out. They've got a couple of press releases they put out. They have some stuff going on. I'm not sure I get it, but there is stuff going on over at Hut. We're just, when we polled the members, they seem to feel like, yeah, there's stuff going on, but we don't like it. So only time will tell. Bitcoin will end this one. Will Bitcoin hit a new all-time high in October? 64% say yes. We get our breakout in October. So there is a lot of optimism around the fourth quarter. And I'm going to go to an article. Let's find that. Can't find it. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, Bitcoin's poor start to bullish October continues, but there may be cheer ahead for the bulls. And I'll go down to. So the first couple of days, obviously, we're down on the month. And they say, however, CoinGlass data shows that most gains appear in the latter part of the month, while the first week is generally bearish, meaning current price action still remains in line with historical movements. Historically, October's the best month for Bitcoin. But they talk about, I think they get more specific than that. A lot of these Octobers that were fantastic did start out red. Bitcoin is down over 6% since the start of October. Data shows a month that has only twice ended in the red since 2013. Chucking gains as high as 60%, an average of 22% to make it the most best for investor returns. Okay. So this is usually our big month. And here they are talking about, we haven't ruled out an attempt at 70,000. Well, we think we're going to do better than that, according to our poll here. We'll see. But just so that you guys know, here we go. The second and third days of October have ended in the green just 6 times. So in this month, that's the best month. Only 6 times have we had the first 2 days green. So this month, apparently is very similar to previous Octobers. I'm always a little hesitant. This monthly analysis to me feels a little bit arbitrary. So for whatever that's worth, I'm skeptical about this. But sorry, for historically speaking, October's a good month. And more specifically, there has been massive optimism about October and the fourth quarter. So
I was thinking about this, Tom. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. What are you thinking?
How many companies actually make money in EBITDA?
I mean, a lot. There's a lot that do, but there's a lot that don't. Once you're an S&P 500 company, it's the expectation that you're making money by then. But in the Russell 2000 and 3000, there's a lot of companies that don't make money.
See, that's what I don't understand. And it's funny because, like, the one thing I will say about Bitcoin miners is that it doesn't seem like they even have a path to making money. It seems like they always talk about raising more money. And then when Bitcoin, maybe in 2030 will be sitting in a better picture.
Well, I do think I will just counterpoint that with there are some companies that I think actually most of the Bitcoin miners of the 12 that we're following now, not all of them in the universe that are publicly traded, a lot of them are cash flow positive. A couple of them were EBITDA positive, and this last quarter was the toughest quarter. It was the halving. I think there will be companies in the fourth quarter of 2024 and the first quarter of 2025 that have positive EBITDA and have profit from GAAP. So that's what I'm expecting. Clive Chang, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the super chat. Says, what are your thoughts regarding the SEC filing a notice of appeal in the Ripple lawsuit? Well, Ripple did not react well. Not Ripple. XRP did not react positively. That I think is ridiculous. George, you're the Ripple person. What's your thoughts?
The shit ton of money. Ooh, sorry, I lost a lot of money.
But you didn't lose it because you didn't sell.
Right. I think it's just more games that they play. And whatever.
Well,
Figure.
It's possible that Gary Gensler might be out of a job 4 months from now.
I can only hope. Isn't it crazy that the government can just do this and waste all this money? I mean, just endless money.
It's, and depending at who's at the head of some of these agencies, obviously sways these type of things. So I do think you'll see if there is a change there, I think you're going to see a lot of this stuff fall away and never to return. But we don't know. We don't know what will happen yet.
Funny, I understand why they did the appeal. So everybody can jump in.
Another buying opportunity.
Yep. Like, oh man. IREN, thanks. IREN's.
Sorry, you broke up there. Can you hear us, George?
Was trying to read this. What said? SH. Is that?
IREN margin are profitable right now, best in the mining space for the rest of this cycle. So we'll go to IREN's report because they had a great report. And where is it? It's this one, I think.
I did buy some.
So 347 Bitcoin mined. That's their biggest number by a mile. But here, this to me is something to get excited about. $23,600 energy cost per Bitcoin. Okay, so, for months and months prior to the halving, everybody was saying, you got to be at 60,000's break even for these Bitcoin miners. And, you know, here's a Bitcoin miner whose electricity costs. Now, I understand that's not all of their costs, right? They have other cash costs in the way of overhead. They have other non-cash costs, big in the way of depreciation. So, you know, that affects EBITDA and net income. But $23,600 per Bitcoin is a very low cost. This is going to be very competitive with the cheapest cost per Bitcoin. And you can see they're at 16 joules per terahash. So there's some of these companies, that's the lowest number I've seen, but all the companies, not all of them, but all the ones that reported, we're starting to see some really, really efficient fleets out there. And this, I think, at the moment, being the most efficient fleet out of all of them. So 31 exahash by Q4. I mean, what's not to like about this report? And then they got the 1,896 NVIDIA H100 and H200 GPUs. So these are highly, highly profitable, according to them in the press release they put out when they bought these H200s. I mean, it was at like, it was like over 90% profit, gross profit. So here, 98%, I'm guessing it is right here, 98% hardware profit margin. So not sure exactly how they define that, but that's on the high performance computing stuff. I mean, that is so much better than what some of the other companies inside of the high performance computing are doing. So I don't know what they're doing right. They have said many times they consider themselves a data center building company and then a Bitcoin mining company. Now, I don't believe that because obviously at 21 exahash on the way to 31, they are a Bitcoin mining company. But this was an extremely, extremely positive report. So I was impressed by this. And then if we go back, let's just go back to the chart. You'll see IREN month over month, 347 Bitcoin mined, 42% increase month over month. So it's a huge increase. So they increased 42% the number of Bitcoin they mined. They decreased their efficiency numbers. So they in that it's a lower joules per terahash, so they're more efficient. They mined more. They mined it more efficiently. They added 5 exahash to their overall hash rate. So this was just a win. This was a great month for them. That would be my opinion.
Do you think the shipping problem is going to affect the miners at all?
It feels like no. I don't know if you were on with us or on a phone call, but that strike is over. And they
took the 18%.
I don't know what the deal was, but the strike is over.
The strike is over. Wow.
Make a quick poll here. I'll pick these 4. Nobody's going to pick that. Okay, and then you can drop in the comments if you have a different answer. Which Bitcoin miner do you think is the best buy right now? IREN, and I'm going to go through and show you their approximate market caps and that kind of stuff. IREN, Wolf, Riot, or Bitfarms. Obviously, there's a bunch more. I was going to put other, but they only let you put 4 options. So drop in the comments if you like one more than that. You know, TeraWolf has been extremely popular, but I want to show you what I think happened here. So if you look at this, IREN was up 10.7% today. TeraWolf is down 6.5%. Now, year to date, TeraWolf is outperforming IREN. So, you know, bear that in mind. I think there was a reason these had opposite effects today. And it goes right to what we were looking at. If you look at TeraWolf, They mined 184 Bitcoin last in August. 100 that's went down to 176, and they stayed flat at 10 exahash. Now, I understand these are just a few of the numbers, but this for a Bitcoin miner, I do think your number of Bitcoin mined, the amount of exahash you're adding, your fleet efficiency, those are ultra important numbers, and these were pretty stale numbers. Whereas IREN, they're lapping them. They're now more than double the size of them. But if you go take a look, so this is on Yahoo Finance. These numbers are not always perfect, but the market cap of IREN is $1.64 billion. And the market cap of TeraWulf is $1.68 billion. So, and that's with a day where IREN went through the roof and TeraWulf had to fall for them to meet in the middle. So, you have to take a look at these two companies and their different business models and what they do. These two companies neither one of them hodls Bitcoin, so they have that in common. But they are not, obviously, you got to look at their balance sheet and their income statement and everything else. But to me, it's very confusing that these have the same market cap. When you look at these numbers and the year that these companies have had operationally versus the year that they've had, and let's take a look at this chart. So this is what the stocks have done. So that's operationally what the companies did. This is what the stocks have done year to date. So TeraWulf's up 83% year to date. IREN's up 21% year to date. Bitcoin up 48%. So, TeraWulf's up 4 times what IREN is up year to date. Now, to be fair, these have wild swings. At one point, IREN was up over 100%. After that, it actually went back into the red. Now it's back up 21%. So, we say every single time on here, the volatility is real. This stuff goes wild. And Robin is saying Wolf is running out of steam. So let's see if this was their cap or if they're going to keep running, because they've been, just from an investment standpoint, just from a stock price standpoint, they've been the right bet. I don't get it. I'll just say that. I'm not saying that is wrong. I'm just saying I don't get it. Midway saying IREN, Cleanspark, Cypher, BitDeer are at very attractive prices. Bitfarms and Riot have been fighting through some extra issues, but they're cheap right now too. Yeah, so I think Bitfarms and Riot, the one good thing I will say is this little settlement they had, which wasn't really a settlement that they made a week ago. I think they're going to stop talking about this for a little while, and I think that's probably good news for both companies, because it's not helping. If you take a look at Riot, it's certainly not helping them. They are the worst performing Bitcoin miner by far. Out of these 12, these are the 12 largest publicly traded Bitcoin miners. So Marathon's the second worst, and they are the largest. They are the largest by market cap by far. Now, they're the largest exahash. They're the largest amount of Bitcoin mined by far. So, but these bigger companies are not having good years. And then you've got Hive, and then you got Bitfarms not having a good year either. You've got a lot of companies still in the red. So, we got just a little bit less than a quarter of this year left, and some companies have some work to do to get back into the green. I'm not saying they're all going to get into the green, but I think, I would be disappointed with any company that's not green by the end of this year, if Bitcoin does anything even close to what I think it's going to do between now and the end of the year. And that's not I don't even think it's going to have the big part of its run. I do think it's going to break out of this range it's been stuck in, whether it's October, 65%, I think was the final number of us that thought it would break out by the end of October. But even if it doesn't, by the end of December, I certainly think we'll, get out of this trading range we're in. And that's what I think we need, is just that move out of this trading range. The next move, even if it's a little move to the upside, I think gets these back into the green. We'll see, maybe Riot notwithstanding, because they are down dramatically. They got to double to get above water here. Andre said Wolf is grossly overvalued. So that becomes the question. I don't know if they're overvalued or if they'll just underperform because I think all these stocks are still valued lower than they're going to be. So I think there's still a lot of room to the upside. It's just which ones are going to move faster from this point forward.
Man, the next 2 weeks, we're not supposed to get a drop of rain in Georgia. Thank goodness.
I was going to say, is that a good thing? It should be after a storm.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of houses that still need blue tarps because people don't realize there's a program that FEMA puts out called the Blue Tarp Program, and they haven't activated them yet.
Oh, really?
They might be in Florida. They're in Florida probably, but they're not up here.
Yeah, they're here, but we got hit first.
Yeah.
IREN Cleanspark from yeah, yeah, that storm moved fast. Midway, who was a member, thanks for being a member, said IREN and Cleanspark both seem like an easy 2x in the short term. So I hope so. Let's take a look at where they're at. So IREN is back up to $8.68. Cleanspark is back up to $9.58. But if we go, let me just go to, here's Cleanspark. So you can see, like, Cleanspark back in September. I mean, this really took a turn to the downside because this day right here, August 5th, this was the freak out day when everything bottomed out. Well, things got even worse than that for Cleanspark. By September 6th, which was the kind of the bottom of September, you know, this got down to $8. So we're at $9.58, but you know, that's still back from this gap down. That'd be a 40% increase, and volume off of there. And from, you know, back to just, this is just back to July. That's 115. So there's your double. There's your easy double if they get back to where they were in July. And remember, Bitcoin was stuck inside of a trading range in July. So it's not like this was, you know, Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high by any means. So we'll see. That could happen. Now, IREN is a little bit closer than that. So IREN on August 5th, that freak out, that was the low. But we did get this, I'm guessing, is September 6th. We did get pretty low there. Around $6.31, it looks like, was the low. We're back to $8.68, but same thing. That'd be an 81% increase. So not quite a double, but if you get back to July, that's an 81% increase for IREN. And most of these charts look this way. So if you look at Wolf has had, you know, there's two companies that have just been doing better than everybody else. And you can see from this bottom, I mean, Wolf's had a really nice trend up. And even this did not break this trend. You know, that was a quick down and dirty line, but this is pretty strong action. So we'll see if the run is over for Wolf. They're very near, or at least, well, they had a red day. So, you know, well, that's still 50% to get back to where they were in July. So even IREN, which is the second best performer, still isn't back to its July numbers. Core Scientific, however, so this is your outlier for sure. Right? And they came out, so June 24th. Why is that? Oh, because that's a gap down. Yeah. So, you know, they took a big jump up and they have stayed there, and they're still hanging around near highs right now. So super strong. And I think, you know, of all the Bitcoin miners, and a lot of these are talking about high performance computing, and they have smaller size high performance computing. Core Scientific has massive high performance computing contract, and that is bigger than all of the other companies' contracts that they have all put together. So I think that is a part of why Core Scientific is sitting up here at the very top of its range when, you know, if you pick any other miner, if we go to Cypher, you know, the same story. Miner after miner, you got to go 95, 96% to get back to July. So this is what's going on. I mean, So, if you like your miner, there's your double for most of these. Not all, but, a lot of these miners have to pull something like a double to get back to. Now, the chart we looked at earlier was year to date. This is the 2024 high, really just, a few months ago, back in July. Marathon continues to get downgraded by Argus. This is like their 5th downgrade in 5 months. They now have a $12 price target on Marathon. I don't understand why that is. I don't get it. I don't see that. I mean, they found solid support here, at 1375. I can't see putting a $12 price target on them. Goes back to the middle of 2023. Doesn't make sense to me. But even for Marathon, that's 67% to get back to their July high. And that's not their high for the year. That's their July high. So to get back to their high for the year, there's your double, 110%. That goes all the way back to February, so we'll see. They've done a lot of dilution since then, we know, but they've also grown massively in exahash, right? They've added like 15 or more exahash since then.
I found out the Rock's coming to town, Tom.
To just put on a show, to just hang out? What's happening?
He's going to so there was a school, unfortunately, next to us. They had the shooting.
Oh,
it was one town over in Winder. He's going there tonight for the game.
That's nice. Obviously,
that's pretty cool.
Tragic.
Mm.
Let's see. Midway saying IREN so much stronger now than it was in July in terms of the fundamentals. Yeah, I mean, they've doubled their exahash from July. So from their previous, so we'll go back to IREN, right? From this high in July, IREN has now doubled their exahash and pretty much doubled their amount of Bitcoin they mine. So, and yet their stock is down. So there you go.
I'll be gone for 10 minutes and I'm going to jump in my car and I'll get back on. See you guys.
All right. We'll see you in 10. Crypto Fever said, I stopped listening to analysts' price targets soon as I got into miners beginning of 2023. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I mentioned that only because I see it and it just jumped out at me as, in my opinion, ridiculous. But I do agree with you, Crypto Fever. I take very little stock in analysts' price targets. You don't know what's going on there, what their motivation is, they show you what their track record is, but even that can be misleading. So I would be very skeptical that Marathon's headed towards $12. That's just my personal opinion. It is not financial advice. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Which Bitcoin miner is the best buy right now? So right now, in first place, IREN, and in last place, Wolf. So interesting. After all this hype from retail investors for the last several months, on this list, it's in last place. And I'll tell you, Riot, 27%. So I think this last operational report that we just got from Riot is changing some people's minds, because I know that retail investors, I know people on our members only stream and people on our Everybody Friday live stream that we have every week. We're here every Friday. Come and join us. Have been very negative on Riot all year. And I understand. We've talked about it at great length. There's some issues there that I would like to see them improve on. There's some things I would like to see them do differently. But, if you look again, let's go look at this chart. I mean, Riot's production was up 28% month over month. And you can see there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, miners, and a couple haven't, 3 haven't reported yet. So that were red, that were down month over month. And Riot was up 28%. They added almost 5 exahash. 3 miners, for those of you who weren't here when we went through this is a comparison. We have 9 of the 12 monthly operational reports as of this point. So this is just a quick summary, one way of looking at this. This is not the deep dive. But you can see there were some real standouts. IREN was up 42% month over month, and they added 5 exahash. Riot was up 28% month over month, and they added 4.9 exahash. So those were spectacular results. I'll throw CleanSpark in there too. They were up only 3% month over month, but they added 5 exahash. I don't know which days. I do think the hurricane affected some of these days late in the month. I'm not sure if this would have been a little higher number, but they were still green. And, 3 companies adding 5 exahash in a month, to me, shows us where we're really at with these Bitcoin miners. I mean, this is ramping up in a historic fashion. We've never seen the Bitcoin miners as a percentage ramp up this way. And I've kind of been saying all year, I feel like they're doubling down on this halving from an infrastructure standpoint, from an exahash standpoint, to be, they're still going to have a lot of work to do at the next halving, but I think this one's a kind of double down. They're looking to triple, quadruple, 5x, 6x, 7x their infrastructure here, some of these companies, in an effort so that, that at the next halving, they're much bigger companies. When Bitcoin's price goes up, even if they have to replace their whole fleet, over a 4-year period, if the market cap is much bigger and they're a much bigger company, the stock dilution will be significantly smaller than this time around. So the dilutions were a tough time this time around, but they allowed companies to ramp up. Remember, IREN's at 21 exahash. They came into the year at 5.6 exahash. I mean, they're quadruple what they were already, and they're looking to go up significantly from there. So that's a 4x, and by the end of next year, they're looking to double again. That's an 8x in 2 years. Pogo, thank you. He said, hit the like button for Tom. Yes, please. We're at 82 likes. If you guys can smash the like button. George had to jump out for a minute. He will be back in a few minutes. So we'll look for him. All right, while we're doing that, let's go through. So I want to talk about the spot ETFs, because last week when we talked, we were on a tear. We had really, as of this was Monday. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is 8 days in a row of inflows ending September 30th. So that was the end of September. That was over $1.3 billion of inflow. If you remember, at the beginning of September, at the end of August, beginning of September, we had 7 days in a row in the red, 7 days of outflows of $1.2 billion. So we ended the month exactly the opposite as we started the month, and that was a total reversal of that. Now, here comes October 1st again, and to the article that we read earlier, here, October 1st, negative. October 2nd, negative. October 3rd, negative. Now, I suspect that streak will have ended today. We had a nice day today, so I think the streak is over, and we're going to have a green. I think you're going to see we're going to have inflows for today, I'm guessing. But 242,000 was big outflows on October 1st, and I'm surprised that Monday actually was even in the green, because Sunday and Monday was a tough day for Bitcoin. So this is, I think, a reason. I know these are red numbers and negative numbers, but I think if we look at the chart, I think we may have bottomed in the short term. This is the 1 day. So you'll see I have the white line at $60,200, but if you go down to call it, we candle wicked at or about this on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So that's 3 days we candle wicked to this line or below this line. So if I go, I'm going to go to the 15-minute because I will go back in time. This candle wick right here this is where we were on the Tuesday members only live stream. We were literally having a poll right here. Is this the bottom? And 50% of the members said yes. They thought this was a local bottom for Bitcoin. I always say local bottom because you never know what comes later. But if I go back to the 1 day, you're going to see that day that was the bottom. And we've been, yes, we candle wicked and retested this a couple of times, but we're up. We're up from that spot, a little under 4%. So, it's not like we're wildly up. And this was a tough run down. That was 9%. All the way to the bottom was almost, 9.5%. And really, to go from top to bottom, this was a 10% correction. So, in less than a week. So, basically 1 week. So a 10% correction is a nice little correction, and we get these all the time. The 20% corrections are a little more rare. We've had, I think, 5 of these in the last now 20-something months in this bull run that we've been on, really, since we double bottomed back in November, December 2022. So look, let me go to the other one. So this has been the worst one of them all. So we did get this new all-time high. This is a new all-time high for Bitcoin back in March. So from the top to bottom, this one was 33%. So that's the first one that broke out of the 20s. The other 4 were really between 20 and 23%. This one was 33%. And, we think this is the bottom. Or do we? I guess I'll ask that next. I tend to think this is the bottom. And so if we do the reverse from that bottom, we're up 27%. So let's end this poll. IREN is the winner. So in first place is IREN, in last place is TeraWolf, and in a pretty solid second place is Riot and then Bitfarms. Just quickly. Okay, was 49K. We hit 49K on August 5th. So that was a couple of months ago now. Is that the low for the rest of the bull market? Was that the last, obviously we're going to have volatility. We're going to have ups and downs. We're going to have, even inside of the most vicious bull markets, we get these 20% pullbacks, 30% pullbacks are not unusual. But was this the low? Is it, do we break out next and we don't see this number again? And maybe ever again then. Just reading a couple of the comments, trying to keep up. It looks like you guys are chatting about some. So Barry C is saying, would Bitfarm do a share buyback agreement with Riot to get the 20% of the company back? So I do not believe that they would do that. I don't think that's what they should do, in my opinion. I don't want to see them allocating capital to buy shares back. The market will settle that out. I know a lot of people are worried that when or if Riot decides to go a different way, and I know there's a lot of people that think Riot actually is going to buy Bitfarms, but if they don't, is there going to be kind of a little bit of a mini crash when Riot dumps that 20%? So I don't think there could be a little pullback. In my opinion, that would probably be a buying opportunity. Obviously, not financial advice. You guys know I like Bitfarms. But But I would not want to see them spend money buying shares. They're diluting right now, so it would be counterproductive to be doing both. I understand the concept of doing it in a more methodical way so it doesn't cause and that would decrease the number of shares outstanding, but I don't think we're going to see that. Oh, sorry. Get back to real time here on the 15-minute. Right, so we're pretty close to the highs of the day, holding 62,000 at 62,400. Okay, so I got one for you. I got to point this out because pretty much every stream I point out an article that JP Morgan put out that is negative or FUD regarding the Bitcoin miners. But, so for instance, I'll start here. Bitcoin mining profitability fell for third straight month in September. This from JP Morgan. Daily block rewards gross profit fell to the lowest on recent record last month. So that was on October 1st. So I talked to the members about this and said, here we go again. JP Morgan, it seems like every stream I can find an article where JP Morgan is saying something negative about Bitcoin miners. But today, Bitcoin, gold, so Bitcoin and gold could benefit from rising geopolitical tension and U.S. election. This from JP Morgan. So, if I'm going to show you every single one where they're being negative, I got to show you the one where they were positive. So they put this out today and they're saying, not that any of us are rooting for geopolitical tension. Let's all obviously hope that trends back in the right direction and we see a de-escalation there. But, and like it or not, we got a U.S. election coming up. So that can be bullish. And I will tell you, regardless of the outcome of elections, and it tends to be a very bullish event, the getting rid of that uncertainty. And I'm going to go back to 2016, and this is not, whatever political side of the aisle you're on doesn't matter. I'm just going to give you an example. In 2016, Trump won the election, which was expected by approximately nobody. And so in the futures overnight, the Dow was down 900 points, which at that time was a nightmare. By the next, by morning, it was a big green day. So regardless of the fact that that was a surprise, it was not what people were expecting. It was not what a lot of people wanted or liked. Taking away the uncertainty caused the market to go up, and then, big rally from there. So removing uncertainty is usually a good thing. Robin said, Cantor Fitzgerald just put a $5 price target on Bitfarms. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So I think that's reasonable, right? Those are 12-month targets, and I think there's a lot of us that probably think Bitfarms could go a lot higher than that in the next 12 months, depending on what Bitcoin does. I do know there's some people on here that do not like Bitfarms. But I think that's true of every one of these companies, right? Obviously, you're going to get some people that like, some people that don't. Okay, so I got Jerry talking about the dollar being strong. So let's just talk about that because... So this is the DXY. We had this big trend down for, this is from June all the way down to, the end of September. The DXY was headed in the right direction here. Now, Bitcoin didn't get the pump that maybe it should have, right? Bitcoin traded sideways inside of the same range for that whole time. But now all of a sudden we have a big move to the upside here for the DXY. The dollar is getting stronger for sure. Obviously today with the jobs number and the rate cut going down to a 99% chance. So let me just show that for those of you who are not here. This is the CME watch tool. And the market's now pricing in a 99% chance of a 25 basis point rate cut, a 0% chance of a 50 basis point rate cut. Yesterday, there was a 32% chance of a 50 basis point rate cut. A week ago, there was a 53% chance of a 50 basis point rate cut. So that went in 1 week from 53% to 0. That's how dramatically these things can change. So I would always just caution you, right? We don't know. Just because that's what the market's pricing in right now doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. These have been all over the place. And Barry C is saying, let me get back to the Bitcoin chart first. Barry C, Bitfarms settled the lawsuit with the previous CEO. So that is good news. Thank you, Barry C, for pointing that out. I think there was sued him for $24 million, maybe, if that's right. Let me know. So it sounds like that was settled. If it was settled, they probably didn't necessarily say what it was for. But just to be gone, get rid of that. That's a good thing. Robin said, I just want to make bank. That's right. That's the whole point, Robin. Thank you. That's exactly, we're all here to do the exact same thing. So we're here and we're investing. We're here trying to make money. So let's take a look at the poll. And we're at 92 likes. So if you can do us a favor and smash the like button if you haven't, let's try to at least get to 100. It's very much appreciated. And special thanks to all the members who are here with us. Was 49K on August 5th the low for the rest of the bull market? 78% say yes. 22% do think we're going to get lower than that at some point going forward. So somewhere near 80-20. I'm a little bit surprised that there's 22% that think we're going, and now 24%. So yeah, and I mean, let's understand that's not out of the question, right? We've been trading up and down in a range, so to retest the bottom of a range, now that 49 was a candle wick, and I'll go show you. That was a candle wick way outside of the bottom of that range. So even that one daily candle ran all the way back up, basically closing at the line in this range. So you know, that was a flash crash. But almost now a quarter of you think maybe we're going to go revisit that or worse. Can you give a guess on where you could see CleanSpark being at end of year? So I'm always hesitant to play the guessing game because these things never act rationally. They just don't. All right. But let's go to, let me get to 1 second. I'll get to you, Corey. Thank you. So 958, and you can see, you know, CleanSpark ran all the way up to 23. This was a crazy run, right? In a super short period of time. That was up 286%. But I do think, you know, I got a blue line here somewhere around $13.50. So I think that's super in reason. And you can see it trading, you know, if I draw, I'll do it. I'll draw a line right here. You know, this is since April. So somewhere between basically $14 and $20 was a nice trading range. And I don't see any reason why it wouldn't get back into, at least get back into that range by the end of the year. So that would be what I would hope for CleanSpark between now and the end of the year. That's my personal opinion. Corey, thank you for the super chat. Tom, Bitfarms is crazy find. Why? If you're saying it's undervalued, I agree. I mean, I think it has. Let's go to the Bitfarms chart. I think it has to do with a couple of things. I think that this thing hanging over their head, they switched CEOs. There's been some chaos. They switched CEOs, although they switched to a CEO that I think a lot, you know, I happen to like a lot and a lot of people like. They've switched out a lot of board members. They've got one of their competitors really kind of in the middle of a hostile takeover. Investors don't love that. I think that's subsiding a little bit, although, you know, when last we knew, Riot is still the largest shareholder of Bitfarms, which is a mystery to me. But I think that's bogging it down a little bit. And I do think there's a little bit of a wait and see. They said they were going to get to 21 exahash by the end of the year. They're at 11 right now. So in this last update that they just gave us a few days ago, they reiterated they expect to be at 21 exahash by the end of this year. I think if we see operational reports come out over the next few months and they're starting to trend towards that, I do think we'll see, that move back up to the $3 range. It feels like forever. This was not that long ago, right? It was July. So, that was a little while ago. I was surprised it stalled out at this $3 range. I think it should get back there. And the second time it got back there, this was after all of the buyout. The Riot made public that they made a $2.30 offer. And, this ran up to $3.20 or close to it. $3.15 after that. So I think there's a lot. I think it's in a good spot. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, we're over 100 likes. Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. Here. Okay, so just as everybody was talking about alt season, Bitcoin dominance nears 3-year high amid altcoin weakness. So last week, the altcoins were running. They were outperforming Bitcoin. Some of the meme coins were on fire, but this week was the opposite. So now we've got, let's take a look. Switch from here. Let me get rid of this. Let's switch to Bitcoin dominance. So you'll see if I zoom out here, this is the 1 day. Let me that. You can see we're back, not quite up to all. This is not all time, but in this cycle, very near this cycle high on dominance again. After it had dropped down, it looked like the altcoin, maybe we were dropping down and we were going to start to turn to the altcoins, but the reverse has happened. And if I look at the list, let me first see what Corey has to say. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it. It just went down 5% in after hours and right back. So this is why I don't, let's take a look. And I don't know if they put out a press release after hours. Sometimes these companies put out Friday 4 o'clock press releases. I don't appreciate that. Let's see. Well, I can tell you if they did, because we can go take a look. There we go. Okay, so there is a reason. Here's your Friday 5:30. Bitfarms files amended and restated prospectus for its at-the-market offering. Okay, I don't think this is news. This is a required amendment based on the proposed Stronghold digital mining acquisition. 127 million remains on the at-the-market offering. So Bitfarms amended and restated the prospectus to the company's $375 million shelf. So I think they're just, I think this is just paperwork. They had to account for that in the purchase of Stronghold in their ATM. So I don't think, maybe people had a knee-jerk reaction thinking this was an increase in their at-the-market offering. But it's not. I think this is just a little bit of cleanup. So nothing to see there, which is probably why, maybe it bounced. Yeah, so they bounced way down and then ran straight back up. So that's what went on there. Nothing. All right. Well, George, I don't know what happened. George didn't quite make it back to the stream. So, I've been through everything. That was, that's what I had for this week. Let's see. Let's take a look at our poll. Was 49,000 the bottom? So somewhere around 80-20. Say yes, that was the bottom for this bull run. and it's up from there. We are hanging, we're multiple hours into being above this red line at 61,900. So, you know, this is classic. We bumped into this. It was resistance for just, this is the 15-minute time frame. So just, you know, just quick resistance. And then we broke above it and now support. So hopefully that holds. Again, this is a short period of time, so we don't know what's next, but we could be on the way back up. Encouraged going into the weekend. A very good day for the Bitcoin miners. Still, let's take a look at one more thing because we did not look at it. So this is what the Bitcoin miners did this week. So for all of the fact that we had a really great day today, somebody pointed out earlier in the stream, you know, CleanSpark was up 10.7% today. That leaves them down 5% for the week. So this is week over week. So this is what they did this week. So you can see the three best performing Bitcoin miners, Core Scientific, Cypher, and Riot, they were 0. So nobody was green this week. BitDeer was down 14%. Now BitDeer was up 42% last week. So I think this was just a little adjustment back to reality from that massive move. But TerraWolf had a rough week. Bitfarms had a rough week. I mean, this is not a, but you know, I don't have, so Bitcoin down 5%. That's usually in gold, but it's in red here for some reason. So Bitcoin was down 5%. The Bitcoin miners across the board were basically down, but at least we did end moving in the right direction for whatever that's worth. Hopefully we can keep our momentum over the weekend. So, I'm going to leave it at that. I want to thank everybody so much for joining us this Friday afternoon. I hope you guys have, I hope you had a good trading day. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. To the members, we will see you on the Tuesday members only live stream. So thanks again and have a great weekend.